What's happening with the Missouri governor? Is he still getting business done as legal action drags on? The pressure is on in Kansas as they get a new price tag for fixing schools. $2 billion. Will they act? Zona Rosa defaults on its mortgage. Will taxpayers be on the hook? Thousands expected to gather this weekend for Kansas City's March for Our Lives. But in the 5 weeks since the mass shooting in Florida, has there been any action to improve school safety in Kansas or Missouri? Plus a clash over affordable housing in Kansas City, and the local statue now making national news.
Week in Review is made possible through the generous support of Dave and Jamie Cummings, Smithfield Foods, Haas and Wilkerson Insurance, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nick Haynes. Great to see you again. It's been a while. Fresh from our spring membership drive, we're back and we want to give you something extra because of your patience. So this week, we're giving you 3 weeks in review for the price of one. That is a deal. Now, working 3 times, though, is hard to make sense of our top local stories. Mr. Up-to-Date, Steve Kraske from KCUR and the Kansas City Star editorial board. Getting up earlier than almost anyone in Kansas City, Fox 4 morning news anchor Mark Alford. Reporting for The Pitch, KCUR News and for KCPT, Barbara Shelley, and columnist and Star editorialist Dave Helling. Now, in the 3 weeks we've been away from you with our membership drive, did anything happen in the legal case against the Missouri governor? Some observers making a big deal of the fact that Eric Greitens was nowhere to be seen when President Trump just came to Missouri. Instead, he was greeted at the airport by Attorney General Josh Hawley. The governor's office is still issuing multiple press releases, though, a day, including a new one we just received, headlined, Governor Greitens celebrates National Agriculture Week in Missouri. So, business is still getting done and he's still governing, Steve?
Well, he's trying to still govern, Nick. He's trying to portray himself as a vigorous, active governor for the state of Missouri. But you can't be vigorous and active when you have the kind of criminal case hanging over his head that he does. And what your viewers should know is that the case against Eric Greitens seems to be expanding. It was just this blackmail situation involving the hairdresser, the woman he saw in an extramarital affair for any number of months. But now there's a sense that there's subpoenas being issued in connection with fundraising lists in connection with the Mission Continues, Eric Greitens' longstanding charitable organization. And now that seems to be very much front and center as part of this investigation.
Barbara.
Yeah, and to really govern, you know, Eric Greitens, he needs the cooperation of the legislature, and it appears that part of the legislature is investigating him, and the rest are kind of ignoring his initiatives and going about their business. He doesn't have much credibility with them right now.
The court date for the governor is set in May, but I saw this week that his legal team asking for that trial to move earlier into April. What is the strategy there? Why would he want that to start earlier?
Well, by the way, the judge denied that motion. There's still a pending motion for a bench trial rather than a jury trial. And there's a motion to dismiss. And really, the governor's lawyers are throwing every possible motion they can at the judge, trying to get this case thrown out of court. The Greitens team wanted to move it up earlier because the less time available for investigation, presumably the less time to gather evidence, including what still appears to be a big problem for the prosecution. They lack the picture, the actual picture that was allegedly taken as part of this affair. But I agree with Barb in this sense. The governor can still do what he wants to do, but the legislature is basically frozen until the special committee investigating the governor issues its report, and then there's a decision as to whether to go forward with impeachment or not.
I think it's very important that he ends up with a bench trial if he wants to win this. If you can take the emotion out of it that you get with a jury trial, a bench trial is going to give him a much better chance of winning this. The other interesting thing I thought was this restraining order that was filed for a petition for it anyway by the husband of the woman involved. He thinks that Governor Greitens is going to come beat him up because he was a Navy SEAL. It just seems almost like a farce.
But do you think, though, the fact that this has lingered on as long as it has makes the governor even more secure in his position?
Well, I think it makes him, here's the thing, Nick, he has several different issues he has to confront. It isn't just this trial in St. Louis. The Attorney General is taking a look at this Mission Continues issue and may have a report as early as today, as we tape this on Friday. He still has the controversy over his use of a text erasing app. all of those things sort of combine to make it much more difficult to have, for the governor to have really moral authority with the legislature, and that's why it's frozen.
And as we've said here before, being comfortable as governor of Missouri was never Eric Greitens' intention. He wasn't comfortable to start with. It was a way station for him to move on to Washington and someplace else. So finishing out his term might be one thing, but it's not what he had in mind when he ran for election.
The key date for your viewers, Nick, April 9th. That's the date this House Investigative Committee will render and issue its report. That report will, as Dave suggests, signal whether the House will proceed with impeachment proceedings or not.
Let's turn our attention now to Kansas. Last year, lawmakers weren't happy when they were told they needed to spend $600 million more on schools to provide what the courts argued was an adequate education. So the Kansas legislature hires its own consultant, and guess what? They're now told they'll need $2 billion more. This was not the answer I'm assuming they were looking for, Barbara.
Oh, not at all. They were looking for a study that would confirm what they'd been saying. But be that as it may, you know, $450 million and up to $2 billion. You know, the dialogue now is turning to compromise, and you know, I'm sure they'll come up with something on the lower end, but it's a huge problem for everybody, including Jeff Collier politically.
Who has said, though, he does not want to raise taxes in the state of Kansas.
He repeatedly
he said that to you.
Yes, several times in my podcast and interview with Fox 4. He said, we are not going to raise taxes. So how do you raise all this money, this revenue, unless you generate a lot more revenue through taxes by generating more business in the state of Kansas? But you can't do that by April 30th, which I think is the deadline, right?
So how do you do it? Dave Helling has the answer to that question.
Well, you just stop spending on anything else in Kansas other than schools. No, it's an extraordinary dilemma, and it's a political problem, not just for Jeff Collier, although it's a huge problem for him, but for all the Republicans in the legislature, because they've been trying to make the case that the current level of spending is adequate or sufficient or suitable, as the Constitution says. And now not only does the court not believe them, but their own study says you're not spending enough. The exact number is not really as relevant as it is the fact that that argument is now off the table. So there is a push for a settlement with the plaintiff districts. There is a push for some sort of compromise. Almost certainly it will involve some sort of tax increase over time, Nick. They're not going to do this in 1 year, whatever number they pick. It's going to be a 5, 6, maybe 10-year deal, and taxes will inevitably
But I
go
thought the
up.
courts had set a specific date for when this had to be achieved, though.
Yeah, by the end of April, Nick, they just have a few weeks, as Mark pointed out, to get this thing squared away. You know, heading into this study, before it was released, the magic number was $600 million. We can throw that much money at it and solve the problem for this year going forward. But now, with the court saying you might need 3 times that amount of money, again, it has thrown everything up in the air. I'm told that when this report was released, the Republicans sitting around the table listening to the report were almost wilting like flowers, recognizing that now the reality of what the situation was had completely upended.
Thousands expected at Thies Park across from the Nelson Atkins Museum at noon Saturday as part of a national day of action over school shooting deaths. The march follows organized school workouts in our metro. But in the 5 weeks since 17 people were killed at a Florida high school, has there been any action to improve school safety in Kansas or Missouri? Mark?
Not to my knowledge. I know there's good intentions on both sides. I think there was some activity in the Blue Valley schools, but nothing concrete that really says we are taking an active response in trying to reduce gun violence in our schools. In the Kansas City, Missouri School District, you already have metal detectors set up in a lot of schools. There are resource officers, I think, on just about every major campus. So those are in place, but where do you go from here?
Well, there are questions about mental health that could be increased. Also, reinforced doors. There are talk of bulletproof glass. Was any of that achieved? Grants going to schools in Kansas or Missouri?
You know, that's been under study, as we've said on this show for some time, Nick, for several years, really after Sandy Hook, which was really the catalyst for a lot of reevaluation of school safety. The Kansas legislature did debate some gun restrictions, and basically the Senate, and basically rejected them all. There is money in the omnibus bill that the president may or may not sign that would provide $50 million every year to school districts to train officers. That's $500 per school building. That's really not going to get it done. So the reality is it's basically status quo after Parkland.
You know, all this, Nick, really points to the long-term fight that has to be waged here if, in fact, you think the NRA has gone too far with its gun rights pushes. The students who are fueling this drive, who will be coming out and protesting this weekend, have got to recognize this is not a fight that will be resolved now or in the short term. It's going to take years to get this done. You know, David makes a great point that the Kansas State Senate debated this issue just a day after a big demonstration outside the state capitol. They looked at banning bump stocks, requiring background checks, raising the age limit for rifle purchases.
Weighting limit.
All of them rejected.
Yeah.
Just that quickly.
Now, speaking of protests, it started as a peaceful protest and would end as a deadly riot. 6 people lost their lives, nearly 300 were arrested, and multiple blocks of the city were put in flames. Now, KCPT partners with 41 Action News to tell the story of Kansas City's 1968 riots. Hear from eyewitnesses who were there 50 years ago and join us for a conversation with Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, Mayor Sly James, police officers and historians as we uncover the lessons of 68. See the film before it airs and join the panel discussion with your questions this Monday night at 6 at the Kansas City Plaza Library. We're putting on a free wine and cheese reception, so we know how many cheese cubes and wine glasses to dispense Monday night. Would you mind RSVPing at kclibrary.org? I look forward to seeing you. Now, on to other local news making the headlines this week. Is Zona Rosa in trouble? And will taxpayers be on the hook for bailing out one of the Northland's top spots for shopping? Well, the company that owns Zona Rosa has defaulted on its mortgage, which could leave Platte County taxpayers footing the bill. Occupancy rates at Zona Rosa are now down to 60%. Is Zona Rosa going through the same pain as every other hot retail center in the metro, or is there something different happening there, Mark?
Zona Rosa means pink zone. I think they're in the red instead of in the pink. You know, the Platte County government came up with this deal back in '07, right before the Great Recession that we had in '08. So I don't know if there was any blame being put on them for having done that, but now it looks like maybe they shouldn't have made that deal to where they put the taxpayers really on the hook. They're going to have to come up with $500 million. And they have set aside some of this money and can go forward with it. But do you want to subsidize a somewhat failing retail establishment when the future does not look bright for retail, brick and mortar?
Why would the city, though, and taxpayers be on the hook for what is, though, a private development, Dave?
Well, this is a common story around Kansas City and in other communities, Nick, in which governments guarantee payments on loaned money for developments, and if the developer falls short, then the city, taxpayers, or the county, and I think Kansas City, Missouri may have a little skin in this game too, have to come up with a difference. It's the same argument about 2-light and 3-light, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, whether taxpayers in essence need to backstop public or private investment by these companies. And the argument is always, and you heard it yesterday, by the way, on 3-light, is, well, it'll throw off all this extra tax revenue and people will shop and it really won't cost you anything. And time again we see, in part because of the failure of the retail sector or the continuing decline of the sector, that promise isn't always honored.
Steve.
You know, this deal was made in 2007, shortly before the financial meltdown. Back then, Zona Rosa's future looked unlimited. Well, of course, that's changed and changed dramatically from 86% occupancy back in 2007 to 60% today. As we've talked about on this show before, if Zona Rosa's in trouble, what does that say about the future of places, you know, the centerpiece of Kansas City, like the Country Club Plaza? More and more people are starting to wonder and worry a little bit about what it might mean for that very important place.
If stores are struggling, what about people? This week, more indignation in Kansas City over city subsidies for more luxury apartments, while average people say they can't even afford to live downtown anymore. Despite calls for more affordable housing options, the City Council voting this week to give $17 million to help subsidize a third luxury apartment tower from the Cordish Development Company. While there was a push from some council members to force Cordish to set aside 15% of their units for affordable housing, that failed this week, with the company offering to renovate a smaller office building it owns into cheaper apartments. Now, the city manager says this week that Cordish was willing to develop in downtown more than a decade ago when no one else was interested. So should they be penalized now? Does he have a point?
I don't think they should. I think that they are a partner with Kansas City to some degree, that they are willing to come up with some sort of plan to provide more affordable housing. But there's got to be some incentives for any developer to come into a municipal area, downtown central core area, and build affordable housing. Unless you give the tax credits, which the Missouri legislature refused to do, you're not going to get builders to come in and say, let's build a really nice tower and we'll stick a few affordable units in there.
If they were to put such a threshold in place, wouldn't that create a chilling effect on developers wanting to even build downtown?
Well, these buildings that Cordish is building are, you know, kind of like big, high, tall buildings, and I'm not sure, you know, if other developers are looking that ambitiously at what they're doing. I know there's a big problem with getting the housing tax credits from the state that a lot of developers relied on, but you know, Cordish has been a tough partner for Kansas City over the years. They drive a really hard bargain, and they use this line, oh, well, we came in when nobody else did. Well, others are willing to come in now, and so I'm not sure that they really deserve the consideration now that they think they deserve from City Hall.
One of their arguments this week was that they are already providing affordable housing in those towers now. Some of them are at $1,100, $1,300 a month. That is affordable.
More than that. It's $2.20 a square foot. For a 1,000 square foot apartment, that's $2,200 a year. But they argue that
for people coming from San Francisco and Boston, that is a bargain.
As Mark can tell you, that's Anchorman money.
Okay, all right.
So
maybe evening anchor.
That's right. But they say actually, Nick Benjamin will tell you, of Cordish will tell you, 40% of their units in the 1 light and 2 light buildings are affordable, as he defines it. One of the problems is the city has never really defined it. But we should be clear on what happened yesterday, Nick, because there was movement. The city said, okay, we'll give you the $17.5 million for parking at 3 light. We will limit you to 6 lights going forward, and we'll do parking in those. And then we'll spend another $3.8 million, $3.9 million, for parking next to the Midland for the so-called affordable, or what they call workforce cost housing. So the city is actually on the hook for more than $20 million, potentially on the hook for $80 million, and it rubs a lot of people the wrong way that those subsidies are going to what are in essence luxury apartments. Now, the city staff will tell you, well, we've got a revenue stream, we saved some money here, there's going to be a new sales tax in the Power and Light District, a CID, that money will be used for some of these costs. But it just rubs a lot of people the wrong way that in essence you're spending that kind of money for what in essence is for rich people.
Well, maybe it's just me, but $17 million seems like an awful lot of money for a parking garage. And I think overall, Kansas City spends a lot of money subsidizing parking garages. And
it is a really nice parking garage.
Well, I am sure it will be. But this workforce housing, I mean, that is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way too. It's like, well, we put, you know,
yes.
you working people over here.
You're not good enough for the 2 lights, but let us show you this apartment.
I mean, the whole thing it just has bad optics.
You know, but as Mayor James pointed out yesterday, when Cordish came in, nobody else is willing to play ball in downtown Kansas City. Look at downtown Kansas City today. You know, deals were made, contracts were signed back in the early part of this century that obligated the city today. I get it's not popular. I get nobody likes it, but that's what was agreed to.
Believe it or not, the cost of housing inflaming passions in Johnson County this week, as many homeowners are up in arms over new property appraisals that are hiking up the value of homes by as much as 20%.
I looked at it and I was like in shock.
In 2015, it was appraised at $143,000. In 2016, that increased to $148,000. In 2017, the value was $168,000. And this year, Herner's home appraisal was almost $220,000.
This is exorbitant, and it will price me out of my home. I won't be able to stay here if it continues like this.
The homeowner in that 41 Action News report says she's on the hook for paying over $1,000 more in taxes. For someone on a fixed income, that's a lot. But overall, isn't this a good problem to have? Doesn't having property appraisals go up mean people will be able to sell their houses for a whole lot more, Mark?
As a realtor, I'm a little bit happy about this because it does mean that you are going to be able to get more for your house. Inventory is extremely low right now. Kansas City Regional Association of Realtors said in February alone, inventory was down almost 22% from this time last year. We sold a little more than 2,000 homes in the month of February, and with supplies going down, prices go up.
No question home values are going up, Nick, but that doesn't necessarily mean that homeowners will have to pay more in taxes. Governments are very much should be looked at here because they can lower mill rates to offset this increasing valuation of homes that's going on all over Johnson County. Taxpayers should be watching their local governments very, very closely to see if they adjust those mill rates downward, because they should, because they're going to get more money anyway because the values of homes are going up.
It was, for a long time, there used to be the story about Jackson County and its appraisal process, and people were up in arms and protesting and pitchforks. Is it the same situation that we experienced in Jackson County, say, 5 years ago, that's now happening in Johnson County?
I think there is some faith in the Johnson. Paul Welcome is the appraiser, and there is some faith in the way his office approaches these questions. The problem, Nick, there are a couple of problems. First, if the value of your home is going up, you don't realize that unless you sell. I mean, there's no extra money in your pocket, but it will cost you if there isn't a rollback of the mill levy. That's what upsets a lot of people. So that's one of the reasons this is an issue in Johnson County that will be an issue for some time, and I think it will increase some pressure on some local units of government to start rolling back their levies a little.
By the way, this upcoming Wednesday is the deadline to file an appeal if you're unhappy with your new property appraisal in Johnson County. What Kansas City story got more national news attention than any other this week? It's this one, and it's not flattering. A local statue of famous Kansas abolitionist John Brown has been vandalized with a swastika and racial epithets, the Nazi symbol drawn on the forehead of the statue near the Quindaro Historic Site in Kansas City, Kansas. The word Satan written on his beard, a racial slur also written on the memorial. The statue has been there since 1911. But before the story broke, did anyone on this panel know the statue was there?
I didn't know. I did not.
But obviously, we're quite aware of Quindaro and the controversy over that over many, many, many years that seems unresolved. This tragedy may helpfully bring more attention to the unresolved questions out in that important part of Kansas City, Kansas.
You know, the last August it was the last time we heard about a statue being defaced in Kansas City, and that was on Ward Parkway when there was a Confederate monument that was defaced there. Instead of just cleaning it up, they totally removed it. What are the plans for this statue?
The John Brown statue? I don't think we know yet. I think that the plan right now, Nick, is to clean it up and then to open it back up again to the public here. And I bet as a result of this vandalism, a whole lot more people are going to want to go see this thing and maybe begin to understand a little more of the history of John Brown.
We had a story yesterday. A local police officer from that area did clean it up, take it upon himself. He has a cleaning service. So he got up there and wiped that Sharpie marker off. But it does... I hate that this happened, but it's kind of cool to learn about something new about history here in Kansas City. John Brown was such an important figure in the abolitionist movement and opposing slavery. He later died, was executed, but it's just an interesting part of Kansas City history.
And finally this week, time is running short to request a ballot if you want to vote on expanding the streetcar line in Kansas City. April 3rd is that deadline, just 10 days away. You have to live in proximity to the proposed route from Union Station down to the plaza and on to UMKC. But I thought voters last year decided at the ballot box that the city cannot expand the streetcar without a citywide vote. So why another mail-in election to decide this $227 million project, Dave Helling?
Well, because this entire process began before the passage of that measure. There will be future votes. There was a bunch of legal pushing and shoving, but there will be future citywide votes if there's an expansion beyond this part.
And there may be lawsuits over this expansion, presuming that voters approve it to extend the line from Union Station out to UMKC, Nick.
Barbara, is there opposition to this particular expansion?
Oh, sure. Yeah, there's a core of people that don't want the streetcar expanded at all. They don't like the fact that they're being taxed. Some downtown property owners mostly don't like the fact that they're being taxed extra for what's there now. And so, yeah, there's opposition.
And when we did a program relating to transportation last year at the Plaza Library, Mark Alford, it was Plaza homeowners, area homeowners, were outraged because they would be losing very limited parking spots as a result.
That's right. Parking is hard to come by, though, as you may know if you've gone down the plaza, especially big ceremonies. With more stores going out of business there's probably not as need for as much parking. But it would be interesting to see that the train go down to the plaza and see how that whole corridor develops.
Barbara.
Well, yeah, I guess I should have said there's also opposition in this area where there would be a new tax levy. I do know people, businesses there that are concerned. It's a big tax. It's a lot of money.
Can I just say this quickly? I did get a sense over the last couple of weeks that the tenants around the existing streetcar line are actually fairly happy with their results, that their sales are up, sales tax revenue is increasing from the TDD that was established for that first streetcar. Whether that has any impact on the debate over the extension or not is not clear, but it has not been a disaster really for most of those businesses, particularly retail businesses, restaurants and others that have seen an uptick in business.
And that is our Week in Review. Our thanks to our news reviewers from the Fox 4 News morning team, Mark Alford, and from the pages of your Kansas City Star, Dave Helling. He keeps you up to date weekdays at 11 on KCUR, Steve Kraske, and you can see and hear Barbara Shelley at The Pitch, KCUR, and at KCPT's digital magazine, Flatland. Don't forget you can join us Monday night at 6 at the Plaza Library as we join with Channel 41 in showing you a brand new film about the 50th anniversary of the Martin Luther King riots right here in Kansas City. We will be screening that program in a conversation with Emmanuel Cleaver, Mayor Sly James, plus police officers and historians, and your questions Monday night at 6. I hope to see you there and shake your hand to thank you for your support of this program. I'm Nick Haynes. From all of us here at KCPT, thanks for spending part of your weekend with us.